Hey everyone, so Donald Trump has picked his new running mate, J.D. Vance. Trump looked for someone he knew would be a rubber stamp for his extreme agenda, and make no mistake, J.D. Vance will be loyal only to Trump, not to our country. And unlike Mike Pence, Vance said he would have carried out Trump's plan to overturn the 2020 election. He supports a national abortion ban and voted against protecting IVF. And if elected, he will help implement the Extreme Project 2025 plan for a second Trump term, which would target critical programs like Head Start and Medicare. But we are not going to let that happen.
We need to talk about it. Project 2025. What is it? Who wrote it? Where did it come from? The entire far-right blueprint is 920 pages and 30 chapters. You're not going to read all that. I don't expect you to. And if you haven't even heard of Project 2025, that's okay too. But you do need to know what's in it because it's pretty terrifying. Think a playbook for Handmaid's Tale, essentially turning the US into Gilead. I've looked for some good, easy explanations of Project 2025, and there really aren't that many. This is going to be the most comprehensive and simple explanation of 2025 that you're going to get. So background, Project 2025 dates back to 1973. That's when the Heritage Foundation, a very powerful conservative think tank based in Washington, D.C., was founded. They are the writers and the architects of Project 2025. And their main mission and goal is to move America to a more far-right Christian nationalist state. They originally came to prominence when they wrote their first manifesto in 1981 titled A Mandate for Leadership. And get this. Those very same policies were the ones that were used and implemented in the Reagan administration. Seriously, around 60% of the 2,000 proposals written in the manifesto were implemented by Reagan. So now they're back again with a new edition, and this new edition is known as Project 2025. And it's supposed to provide guidance for the Don or whoever becomes the next Republican president. And these 900 pages and 30 chapters are written by professors, doctors, scientists, lawyers, scholars on each subject. And they've divided Project 2025 into 4 main pillars. The first is policy, which is this big book. The second is personnel. They're creating this huge conservative database, think LinkedIn, but for DJT loyalists. The third pillar is training. They set up this online educational system called the Presidential Administration Academy, where they teach their views and ideology in a course. And the fourth is called Playbook, which is an action game designed for how they're going to get everything done. Now let's get into some of the very concerning things on their wish list for DJT's second term. Starting off strong on pages 450 to 503, they're calling for a complete ban on abortions. Not very shocking. Page 319, they're saying the Department of Education should be eliminated. And in addition to calling for its elimination, they state that any school that requires a vaccine or mask mandate will not receive federal funding. Page 482, eliminate the Head Start program. Page 675, calling for the elimination of NOAA and the National Weather Service. Because these organizations, and I quote, have become one of the main drivers of climate change alarm industry, and as such is harmful to the future U.S. prosperity. Page 133, they call for the complete dismantling of the Department of Homeland Security. In addition, they argue for the elimination of the FBI along with the Department of Justice. Page 5, they call for a complete ban on corn, writing that corn should be outlawed, the people who produce and distribute it should be imprisoned, and anyone else who participates or facilitates it should be registered. Page 104, reverse policies that allow transgender individuals to serve in the military. Gender dysmorphia is incompatible with the demands of the military service, and the use of public monies for transgender surgeries or to facilitate abortion for service members should be ended. And there's so much more, including the possibility of ending birthright citizenship, banning African American and gender studies in all levels of education, calling for an ending of any DEI programs, getting rid of gay marriage, ending the Affordable Care Act, and it also calls for the mass deportation of immigrants and proposes a plan to round up illegal migrants and lock them up and put them in camps. But perhaps one of the most troubling and well thought out plans is the move to reclassify federal workers under what is known as Schedule F. Now, I'm going to get a little HR heavy, but please stick with me because it's so important. Now, there are 2 types of federal employees. The first group are merit-based workers. These are career positions. These people have earned them through going to school, getting work experience. They're either considered experts or they could be a part of the support staff. These people are hired because they know their stuff. Think an engineer at NASA or a scientist at the FDA. And their federal jobs have protections. Now, the other class are at-will or appointed workers. These employees tend to serve at the pleasure of the president or the administration, which basically means they can be fired or replaced at any time. To put it all in context, there are about 2 million of the first class of merit-based employees and only about 4,000 political appointed ones. Under this new plan of Schedule F, they'd reclassify a bunch of the regular civil servants into political appointees. That way the Don can replace them with loyalists. Now, how does replacing all of these people help him carry out his plan? Let's do an example. Under Schedule F, DJT could take a scientist at the FDA, fire him, and then replace him with, let's say, a scientist who wouldn't give clearance to birth control or the abortion pill, therefore making it illegal and inaccessible without having to go through the courts, without having to go through Congress. By the way, they specifically lay this out in the plan in the 900 pages. Now, remember what I said about the whole conservative LinkedIn? That's the database they're going to use to fill these positions. A bunch of unqualified loyalists. And in October of 2020, actually, DJT tried to do this. He tried to implement Schedule F. He signed it into order, but then he lost in November. And the whole thing was pretty much a secret, but Biden then immediately repealed it. But if he wins this time, they say it'll be one of the first acts of his presidency. Now, the Don has come out and said he doesn't know anything about this Project 2025 and has been trying to distance himself from it. But at least 26 authors and people who are associated with Project 2025 served in his very own administration, including Russ Voigt, John McKinty, Stephen Miller, and many others. Also, his own platform, Agenda 47, just sounds like a SparkNotes version of Project 2025. The president of the Heritage Foundation is calling Project 2025 the new American Revolution. The second DJT term could lead the way.
That was wild.
I'm gonna tell you.
What are y'all thinking?
I actually found the actual document, and I'm gonna tell you right now.
Pages, right?
Yep. Because like they had, I put in the back chat, but it's because like I found a picture first, and it shows you highlights of what they said is in there, and then they put page numbers next to it. So I actually went and found a document, and you can actually, and on my phone, I just started searching for keywords to find certain stuff. I'm gonna tell you right now, them motherfuckers lost me when they said that they was gonna get rid of the income-driven repayment for student loan debt. I said, all right, yep, not going that way.
So basically, you ain't gonna rack up no debt.
No, basically, what they're saying is that a lot of the IDR is basically for to help people repay back their student loans, and it's based on your income. And basically,
isn't it a portion of that same document that says they're gonna do away with taking out loans to go to college?
No.
But you still gonna be able to take out loans. It's just your ass gonna fuck around and find out once.
Yeah, basically what they're saying is they want to force every single person to pay 10% of their income, and all you got to do is do the math on that. The average American makes like $40-some thousand a year. On a $60,000 to $60,000 of student loan debt, you're gonna be paying off that student loan debt for at least 30 to 40 years. You know what I mean? Just off of just the average American's income.
You doing that now, ain't it?
No, income-driven repayment. If you don't make over a certain amount and you got kids and shit, your payment may be as little as $100 or some shit like that a month, if not less. And after you own it for 10 years, if you're a public servant, your student loans get forgiven. But if you're on it for 20 years, your student loans get forgiven.
Okay.
Also, if you got student loan debt and you've been considered disabled, your student loans are automatically forgiven as well.
But that's going on now.
So when she say, it looked like one of the things I seen on there was about the death penalty for drug dealers. Like you can get the death penalty if you get convicted of selling drugs.
It's a lot of wild shit in there, bro.
Another thing I seen was the federal. So being the president, he would have control over every single agency to do with how you want. So that the part about when she's saying that they have the two different workers, but one you're actually qualified, the other you can be appointed. I think that's probably the most dangerous one, because what's to stop somebody from saying, we're gonna have to so they say they're removing diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? I get why they're annoyed with it, but I don't understand why any black people are annoyed, but that's beside the point. They're trying to prosecute anti-white racism and that they should be jailed and treated as terrorists. So if you have an issue with, I know I'm getting locked up for that shit, because if I got an issue for what's been done in the past, then I got to be jailed and treated as a terrorist. It's some other that I get why they got the abortion ban, and I get why they don't want the IVF, because that whole so you got to understand the basis of the alternative right, or the far right wing movement, that they believe that white people are being genetically removed by not procreating. So having babies so having babies with, because the next thing will be miscegenation laws again. So having babies with black men dilutes the race as far as they're concerned, and they view that as genetic annihilation. The other thing is women taking birth control, by them extending the period of time that they want to have kids, they may not ever have those kids. So for them to get the amount of kids that are passed, like the 6 to 12 kids per woman, you're going to have to prevent them from being able to do that. And then you remove IVF, which stops people from being able to say, hey, I'll just wait till I'm older. So you put a time clock early on in life for people to get these kids, and you make it so that they can't not have the kids. When she say it's the closest thing to Handmaid's Tale, Handmaid's Tale is extreme, but it's kind of true from what they describe. It's like your husband told me, well, your man Casey Maurice was telling me about this thing called the prayer breakfast. I don't know if any of y'all ever heard of it. So the prayer breakfast is like what the Last Supper? You say what?
You mean the Last Supper, right?
No, bro. The prayer breakfast.
No. Give him a sound effect like you gave me.
Misery Love Company. She waiting on that shit, boy.
No, I got
they over there playing double dutch. She waiting.
It's a movie on Netflix called where they discuss the whole thing, and it's pretty much a far right ring, ultra stern Christian nationalist platform that has the power to really elect and select the presidential candidates and their agendas. So the Heritage Foundation is directly linked to them, and that's really who will run the country. So when they say like the Heritage Foundation, if you look into them, that's actually who would be in charge of the country, but they will use the president as a proxy. So
I'm not related to the KKK.
No, that wasn't me, bro. That wasn't me.
Talking about that
noise. What is that?
That's
breathing like that.
You know how heavy people breathe,
Jordan. Like, you know how they begin stuff to stop. I got a huge dog. This boy huge.
Pause.
Why y'all know how to just pause, just regular? I brush my teeth. Pause. Like y'all. Let's please not make
somebody watching this show for the first time and be like, "What are they playing? A video game? Or are they playing some type of game?" Pause.
Yeah, let's not make light of real situations that can affect a lot of people directly.
Oh no!
Nyla, don't slide that in there like
that. Let's not make light of the situation because this is really a